Well, good morning and welcome to CityLine. It is great to be in your home. This morning is November 21st and we are live every Thursday morning. We have a fabulous show ahead of us this hour. Later on, we'll be talking with the Toy Rescue Mission. It is that time of year again, and Martha will be here talking about how they operate and what they need from you. And then Recycle Reset. Lewis and Preston are here to talk about some of the new recycling standards that go into effect here in Tacoma. So you definitely want to take notes on that. Symphony Tacoma is here, along with Tacoma Youth Chorus and Tacoma Refugee Choir. I'm going to call that segment the Holy Trinity because it's rare to get Sarah, Aaron, and Judy on the couch at the same time. They have a beautiful collaboration coming up that the whole family needs to be present at. And then the Humane Society is here also with our Pet of the Week. I won't give away who that is, but of course you're going to love this little four-legged soul. And then with me right now is talk about an amazing soul. I have loved getting to know her this morning. I'm talking about Elizabeth Schiefer-Decker. She is a detective with Tacoma Police Department and also Shop with a Cop president. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Okay, you ready?
Okay, I am ready.
1, 2, 3.
I brought props.
Okay, now we are ready to talk about Shop with a Cop.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing hats for us this morning.
You're welcome.
It was very Susian of you. I really, this is, oh wow, that's a good shot.
That's
don't
a good
you
look,
think?
yes.
Okay, so let's talk about this. I want to get some background because your history with Shop with a Cop is incredible. So you told me it started in 1995.
Actually, it started in 91.
91.
And I started in 1995 when I was hired.
Okay, and tell us about your journey in this wonderful program.
This is such a great program. So it was started in 1991. The first year that I participated, I shopped with a child, and of course I was hooked. And so I've participated almost every year since 1995 and then started on the board in 2010.
Wow, that is impressive. So since you are kind of the gatekeeper of the knowledge of Shop with a Cop, can you talk with us about how did it get started? And not so much technically, but were you all sitting around one day or did somebody say, hey, what about the kids?
And that's pretty much how it started. It was a small group of officers that saw we weren't interacting with the community, especially the kids, like we should have been. And so they thought, you know, especially in Tacoma, there's such a huge need for help and such a huge need for positive interaction with police officers. So they sat down, a few guys, and started Shop with a Cop, started with a handful of kids, taking them shopping at Christmas time. And it has grown over the years, but I'm so thankful that this group of guys back in 1991, some gruffle guys decided, you know what, we really need to have a better interaction with the kids.
Yes. And those first kids, those first few years, now they're adults.
They are.
And they must have wonderful memories.
As far as I know, we don't keep in contact
Yes.
with all of them, but last year, actually, we had 2 different parents that I talked to that said, I participated with Shop with a Cop, and now my kid gets to participate with Shop with a Cop. So it was fun to hear their stories, talk to them, and then they were so excited to have that opportunity for their kids as well.
You have, Tacoma Police Department has loved on a lot of kids in these 29 years.
We're probably getting close to 2,000.
Oh my gosh. So walk us through the process. I know we have some pictures here we're going to show of shopping with a cop the last 29 years. So how does someone go about nominating somebody?
So we work with the Tacoma Public Schools primarily for our nominations. I work directly with the school counselors, and they nominate, each elementary school gets 3 nominations. So they send me that information. That's where we get the bulk of the kids. So they start sending me nominations in September and October, so very, very early. But officers can also nominate kids. In fact, I got a nomination last night from one of the officers. This little guy was robbed of his cell phone, of all horrible things, on Saturday. And so the officer went out, talked to this kid, emailed me last night, said, hey, can we take this kid for Shop with a Cop? And I said, of course. So some of the nominations do come from officers directly, but primarily it's the Tacoma Public Schools.
Okay, boy, those guidance counselors, they are angels.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
The work that they do and how hard they work for these kids, I absolutely love them.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. So, so we have guidance counselors that nominate these beautiful children for Shop with a Cop. Can they do it every single year, or is it a one-time nomination?
It is a one-time nomination. Our age groups are from 7 to 11 years old, and so the school picks any kid in that age group, but they do only get to participate once.
Okay. And do you often have siblings of the same family, or do you try to keep one child per family?
It's one child per family. Sometimes there are separate years where a sibling will participate when the older sibling has participated in the past. Our one exception, of course, is twins.
Yes.
We always take the twins together. We don't pick one of the twins. The twins get to go.
Boy, that would be just double delight to have twins.
That's my favorite
Oh,
every year.
yeah. I would just stand back and watch the twin magic happen.
It's so much fun.
I bet. So let's talk about what happens the morning of Shop with a Cop in terms of what it looks like for that child that's selected.
So the morning of Shop with a Cop, it's very early.
How early?
We pick up the kids about 6:30 in the morning.
Wow.
So it's a Saturday morning, but 99% of them are peeking through the blinds waiting for us to show up. Each kid is assigned one officer. So it's a one-on-one ratio. So the officer goes out, picks up the kid. Sometimes they're in patrol cars, sometimes they're in unmarked cars. Last year, we
Have they met the cop before they?
No, most of the time, unless the officer has nominated the child,
Okay.
they have not met the officer. So all they see, of course, is the uniform, and they're so excited.
Yes.
Last year, we had one of our SWAT vehicles go out and pick up a little guy. It was his birthday that day, and so they went and picked him up in the SWAT vehicle.
Wow.
So he got the extra special treatment
I
that
know
day.
adults who would love that.
I do too. I do too. So they pick them up. We take them to Target. When we check in, we have a Santa Claus. He's been our Santa Claus for years. He's the best Santa. So they get a picture with the Santa. Most of the time, they get to pick if they want the officer in the picture or just them. Of course, most of the time, it's the officer in the picture with them.
Yeah.
And then they get to go shopping. And so they get to pick whatever they want. Within, we have a budget every year. Rarely do the officers stay within that budget. So they are always whipping out their debit and credit cards to cover the difference.
Putting their own money out above and beyond the budget
Yes.
that is set forth.
And most of these officers, our funding is actually through payroll deduction for our officers. So not only are they participating that day, but they're funding our program through the entire year and then whipping out their own debit and credit cards.
Oh my
Very
gosh.
generous. It warms my heart every year.
I mean, I have to say this. I mean, I always look at police officers and school teachers on the same level. Of,
Absolutely.
You are angels, and you put your life and your family on the line. You do more than what you're ever compensated for. So here we have Tacoma's Finest every month, every pay period, doing payroll deduction to make this fund available for these children. And then in addition, they're adding.
They are.
Wow.
Very generous. Obviously, the public doesn't get to see that side and the heart because most of the situations that the officers are in are negative situations. But the heart that everybody has for these kids, which is what keeps me going every year.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you talked about just now, you said something that kind of sparked a twinge in my heart, the positive interaction. And some families do not have a positive experience with Tacoma Police Department.
No.
So how does this program bridge that with children?
And that's probably one of the best parts of the program because a lot of these kids have seen their parents get arrested and it's heartbreaking. And so for us to be able to come in this positive situation and they get to see officers in a positive light and see that not everybody that leaves in a police car is going to jail.
Yes.
It's so much fun and it really does bridge that. And even the parents, probably at least 50% of our parents have been arrested. But it helps them kind of develop a positive interaction with the police because it hasn't always been positive. I think that healing process is huge for us.
Absolutely. So last two questions for you, my dear. The first one is, how can the community help?
The biggest thing, obviously, is the funding.
Yes.
We do our payroll deduction, so the officers cover the bulk of our funding every year, but every $200 essentially helps one more child. And so I always look at every $200 that comes through the door, we can help one more child.
Okay.
So funding is always critical. The last couple of years, we've been in the hole a little bit. So we're trying to make that up, but that is the biggest thing that the community can do to help us.
All right.
Yeah.
So we've been showing a website below that beautiful face of yours. Is that where they can log on to donate money?
We're actually old-fashioned, so we don't. We can only take checks and cash at this point.
Perfect.
And so if they want to mail a check to Tacoma Shop with a Cop, to the police station, and then we can use those funds immediately.
All right. Who do we need to thank, Elizabeth?
Well, obviously the officers it's a huge part, but we do have, every year I get random businesses. This year the 38th Street Safeway remodeled, and they gave us a call and said, hey, part of our remodel is we want to donate $5,000 to the program, which was huge. Like I said, every $200 is another child. So that was huge. And then this year, got a phone call from Emerald City Smoothie, who all of the proceeds on December 4th from the 38th Street store are going with Shop with a Cop. So when businesses can step up like that, that's huge for us.
Elizabeth, thank you for your years of dedication to this program and to the Tacoma Police Department. You have a permanent spot on this comfy couch.
Thank you.
You are an angel with a snowman on your head. Thank you so much for all that you've done.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this quick break.